Welcome. I am so excited to be in Comunidad with Mia Bido from Mia's Cocina. Y estamos aquí haciendo un sancocho. And we're going to talk a little bit about, her path into cooking, how cooking is a healing mechanism, but also an act of resistance and an act of bringing family and community together. So, Mia, tell us a little bit about the history of Mia's Cocina and its mission.
So, Mia's Cocina's mission is to keep the recipes, culture, and traditions alive in the diaspora. And we do this through our cooking classes that take place at the Essex Market via La Cocina de Loisaida. Participants come to class, they put on an apron and a pair of gloves, and then we make the meal as I speak about the history and the culture behind the food.
Wow, so amazing. And actually, I've had the privilege of taking one of Mia's classes, and it was absolutely incredible. I actually took your pasteles class,
Yes.
and I had such an amazing time. So, can you talk to us a little bit about, what inspired you to create Mia's Cocina?
So Mia's Cocina actually developed organically in the middle of the pandemic. All my life, everyone told me that I should do something with my cooking because my food was so good. And it honestly is my passion. I love to cook and I love to feed people even more. But I've always brushed it off and thought of it more of as a hobby.
Mm.
Until this little thing called the pandemic came along
That
and
part.
I lost my job like
Oh,
half of America.
right.
I was trying to find something to do because I was in property management and that industry completely tanked as everyone realized they could work from home on Zoom and meet at a coffee shop once a month for an in-person meeting. So during that time, I ended up at the Loisaida Community Center to volunteer some time. And since they're Puerto Rican and I'm Puerto Rican, we immediately started to talk about food.
I love it.
I pulled out my phone and I showed the executive director my pictures of my food, and he said, Maria, vamos a hacer un video. Let's make a video para la Navidad. You're going to make pernil, arroz con gandules, and yuca. So he invented this grand idea of making a video to teach people how to make the traditional holiday meal. At that point, we made the video. He absolutely loved it and then wanted to do another video for the Loisaida Festival,
Right.
which was going to be virtual that year. Fast forward, he asked the Essex Market if they could teach, if he could use the teachable kitchen at the Essex Market. And they support everything that has to do with community. They said, yes, come on over. So we went, we filmed the video there, and that's when the director of community engagement at the Essex Market said, Maria, you're so good at this. Why don't you do in-person cooking classes? And from there, it actually just organically developed. We had we had four baby pilot classes, which all sold out. We had to add an additional class. And then it just continued. And I'm happy to say that on February 22nd, we had class 100
Wow.
in 4 seasons.
That's amazing. And now that you say that, I'm like, well, let's get this sancocho started because I can smell all the herbs and como que hay hambre.
Yes.
Hay hambre.
Wepa. So when we make sancocho, we use a traditional caldero. That's how they always cook in Puerto Rico and most of the Caribbean islands. Caldero translates to the word cauldron, which is a pot that everybody uses. My kids always said, oh, you're cooking with the witch's pot because it gives that resemblance. So what we want to do first thing, because you're here to learn how to make sancocho today, is to take the avocado oil and you're just going to pour it all around to coat the bottom of the pan. Excellent. Perfect. And the reason that we use avocado oil is because you can sear food up to 550 degrees temperature without getting that burning smell. Sancocho is traditionally a meat stew in Puerto Rico. There's different variations all over the world. where other people use different proteins, but ours has pork ribs, beef ribs, pork chunks, beef chunks, ham chunks, as well as chorizo. I've already seasoned it with vinegar and my grandmother's homemade adobo.
Qué rico.
Okay, so now you
Okay, so
can
we're
just
gonna
go
put
on
this in
ahead
here.
and pour that in, all with the jugo and everything. Throw it all inside there because that's so yes. And that's the first thing. You want to take the cooking spoon and you want to just give this a little bit of a stir. And then we're just going to leave it right there so that all of the meat can sear and the bottom of the pot can develop all of those delicious, crispy textures so that we can then fill it up with some water.
I love it.
And make our stew.
So now, cooking for me has always been like an ancestral practice, right? Like I remember cooking, and all these like aromas just bring back my abuelas for me.
Absolutely.
So talk to me a little bit about how your abuela inspired Mia's Cocina.
So my grandmother Jovita was born in Ponce, Puerto Rico in 1921, and there was very little means at that time. She had to make everything fresh by hand daily. So she made her own adobo and her own sofrito. Pass me the adobo so that I could talk to you about it. Thank you. All right, so here we have my grandmother's homemade adobo. And this is a seasoning that we use for absolutely everything.
It smells so good.
Exactly. This is made by using garlic paste, which we have right here, which is also homemade, her recipe. And then we take it and we add, believe it or not, Dominican oregano is the best oregano on the market.
Hueva.
Exactly.
You don't have to tell me twice.
And we give credit where credit is due at all times. And then we continue to add just diamond crystal salt. This is the only adobo that I use for all of my recipes. And it's my grandmother's homemade recipe.
I love that.
Yes.
And so if they take your class, they can learn the full recipe, right?
Absolutely. We make our homemade garlic paste and our homemade sofrito as well.
Oh my God, that looks so good.
Well, my grandmother taught me how to make all of her traditional recipes. And I continued to cook and I loved cooking. It was just something that was natural to me because I spent so much time with her when we were home in the projects living together.
Right.
My mom was a single mom. She worked during the day and she went to college at night. And I ended up spending a ton of time with my grandmother. Once I got married and moved out, I had to learn how to cook even more. So I spent even more time with her, finding out all the nitty-gritty information about her recipes. Yes.
I love that. I feel like, in the kitchen is where I learned like all of my abuela's like consejos. Like, are there any consejos that still stand true to you, or like rules of the kitchen that you're still like learning or maybe even unlearning?
Yes. There were definitely many rules to the kitchen. Everything had to be washed first. The covers of all of the cans had to be washed. The water had to be boiled separately in a separate pot. It was only one kind of oil. She's probably mad at me right now for using this avocado oil, to be honest with you.
Aww.
But there was just so many things. Just a special pot just for the water. Nothing else could be made in that pot.
Right.
Certain knives for certain styles of cutting, and nobody could touch her pot. I was going to do this when she made it. Nobody could flip that rice. Nobody could take the cover off. We would all get eaten alive if we did anything like that. And ironically, I do the same thing.
Oh no.
I can't have anyone touch my rice. The rice, I think, symbolizes for us, it's the main part of our meal.
Right.
There's rice in every meal.
Rice can make or break a meal for sure.
And if the rice is not right, everybody can say something about it. So the rice always has to be right. But there are many that I have changed. For example, pasteles, we would only make pork pasteles. I have now graduated, and I've told people when I come and they come to my class, we're making my grandmother's recipes.
Right.
Is this the right way of cooking? And they all look at me like, I don't know. So then I look at them and I say, yes, this is the right way. This is my grandmother's recipe. We're doing it her way.
Right.
So then they do what you just did, which is laugh.
Right.
And then I tell them, but if we were making your grandmother's recipes, would that be the right way?
It's still the
And
right way.
it absolutely is. And so
Right.
that's one of the things that I say in class now is there is no right or wrong way
Right.
of doing things.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we all just want to eat good food.
Exactly.
So whatever way we have to get from point A to the end of deliciousness, that's how you're going to do it. So I always tell everybody now, don't let them tell you that you're doing it wrong.
Right.
That's not how you're supposed to.
And I love that because in your classes, I think I remember also that you had like a vegetarian option, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we
So
now
that's
make
great.
pasteles with all kinds of different rellenos to offer all kinds of different taste palettes.
Right.
So we have it with pork relleno, chicken relleno, veggie relleno. We also make it with bacalao guisado. And
Right.
basically the point is put inside whatever you want, whatever you think is going to make you
Right.
happy.
And that's really like the history, like we were talking earlier, of sancocho, which you can find all over the Caribbean, Latin America. You know, Cubans make sancocho, Colombians make sancocho.
Mexicans.
We all call it something different, you
Yeah.
know, like someone may call it ajiaco,
Yes.
other ones call it levanta muerto.
Yes.
You know, and so really you can find sancocho all across the diaspora.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's a true like mezcla
Yes.
of all kinds of like root vegetables or just whatever was native to the land.
Exactly. Whatever resources that were available,
Right.
that's what they took and that's what they put inside the
Right.
sancocho.
And then oral history tells us that, you know, it was also just like what was left over, right?
Yes.
From
absolutely.
like, you know, unfortunately, you know, enslaved communities.
Yes.
And they were able to kind of like make a delicious meal out of it.
Yes, absolutely. The tubers that we're using to place inside of the sancocho, which are full of vitamins and minerals,
Right.
were looked down upon by the elite
Right.
as if they were a poor person's food.
Right.
So that's who they would give the food to.
Mm.
They wouldn't use that in their meals.
Right. And yet, I mean, levanta muerto means like bring me back from the dead. Right?
Absolutely, yes.
And so I can't tell you how many times sofrito has brought me back to life.
I'm sure it has. Yeah.
Like in, you know, research shows that, you know, soups in general, but I mean specifically, like even if you think about chicken soup, right?
Yeah.
That it like releases like any mucus that's trapped in the
Yeah.
body.
Mm-hmm.
When I had COVID, like se me quitó. And I've lived all over the country,
Yeah.
but I make sure that I'm either near a Puerto Rican restaurant or a Dominican restaurant so
Yeah.
that they can get like sopa delivered to me.
Exactly.
And every single time I do it, I'm like, oh my God, like
Yeah.
you just feel like
So much better. It brings you back to life
Right.
after you eat it when you're not feeling well. And that's the way we were all raised. And could it be mental? It probably could be. But
Right.
thank God they instilled that into us.
Right.
So that when we do get our sancocho and as soon as we do eat it, it does absolutely bring us back to life.
Yeah. One of the other things that I really love about cooking is when I think back to like civil rights movements, or even like the suffragist movement,
Yeah.
that a lot of women used cooking as an act of like building community,
Yes.
but also as an act of resistance and an act of survival.
Yes.
Right. And so I think that's why I resonate so much with your story.
Yeah.
You know, especially during COVID, having been laid off, but then realizing that like you could turn something that you love doing, right? That brings your family together into something that would support your family. So
Absolutely.
could you talk about like some of the support systems and the ways in which you were able to like gain that confidence to become an entrepreneur?
So my family has always supported me. They've always told me that the food is so good. Everyone has always told me to do this.
Right.
And I have always talked myself out of it. I
Mm.
don't know how. Until I got to, like you said, that very point that I needed to do something to support my family. And at that point, when I started to tell my family that I was going to do it, they were all very encouraging, very supportive, trying to help me to find out whatever information I needed in order to get my business going. And I love our Latino family for supporting each other in ways like that.
What about like in terms of like universities and like entrepreneurial organizations? Like who has supported you in kind of like honing in on the business aspect?
Yes, I didn't know what I was doing, and I started to do some research online to find out what I needed to have in order to operate at a street festival. I found out that I had to cook out of a commercial kitchen, and since we were going to be in upstate New York at the time, my mother in law started to reach out to her contacts, and they told her to contact SUNY Cobleskill and the Institute of Rural Vitality who had previously helped entrepreneurs. I did reach out to them and they told me that that was a program that they had done years ago and they wanted to start it up.
Wow.
And I was the first person that they helped when they started that program again of allowing small chefs and small businesses to use their commercial kitchen. And I'm really, really happy to say that they supported me, helped me and guided me to get all of the licenses and equipment that I needed.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm about to cut the yuca, but you're
I
gonna
need to
have
show
to
you how to
wait.
do that. Because there's a
Porque
way.
la yuca está un poco complicado, nena.
So the yuca is a root vegetable,
Right.
right? And it's indigenous to the island of Puerto Rico. All of the Tainos use this for many things. They boiled it, fried it, they mashed it, and they made flour out of it so that they can make the cassava bread. So what you need to do is you always need to cut the tip of it off. And that one looks a little bit funky right there, so we'll just cut a little teeny bit more. And then once you look at it, you'll see that there's like a little ring going around the outside, right? And then it's a little bit of a different color. So you always want to take the knife and draw a line going down it. And then you're going to use the side of the knife to lift up that little bit of purple skin. And you can see that it's like a different kind of texture than the yuca itself. And it starts to peel off naturally on its own. So you want to just follow that around. Do you want to try?
Sure.
Okay, go ahead.
Perfect. And so, speaking of, resistance, cooking as an act of resistance, can you talk about like what kind of legacy have you seen, um, and impact have you seen in terms of Mia's Cocina on the community?
The impact and the reception has been unbelievable. There is absolutely a need for what we're doing in the kitchen here. So many people, I cannot even tell you how many come up to me and tell me that they lost their elders
Yeah.
and they were never able to get the recipes.
Wow.
Mommy suddenly, Alzheimer's set in so quickly and I was never able to get the recipes. Another woman said that she was raised by her great grandmother who ended up getting dementia and
Oh
by
my
the
God,
time
qué pena.
she was old enough to realize she needed to get the recipes, she wasn't able to.
Right.
So people are very grateful for this opportunity.
Right.
And that is actually one of the other things that I'm doing, like we mentioned earlier, the consejos, is sharing the recipes because our elders tended to keep them to
Yes,
themselves.
that's what my abuela did. It
and
was
not
so
want to share
hard.
them. Yes.
It was so hard.
Mhm.
So that's why I kind of sought out your class because, I didn't get a lot of my abuela's recipes.
Right.
And, now as I, learn how to cook, both, I'm Dominican and Cuban, I realized like how much I lost when she passed away.
Yeah.
And
And
so wanting to just reclaim that. And
yeah.
I think your class was such an amazing opportunity to do that. And even just the people who were there, like I met a couple that they had just had a baby and neither of them had learned their abuela's recipes,
Right. Yeah.
And so they were coming back to the class so that they could carry on that tradition to their children.
Exactly.
Yeah. And how beautiful that is.
Right. And in class, I try to encourage everyone to go to that titi, that abuela, that abuelo who makes a delicious recipe that they love and ask them to teach them how to make it because they're going to gain so many things. Right. Number one, they're going to make memories that are going to last a lifetime.
Right.
Number two, they're going to learn a recipe. And number three, they're going to be forced to talk to each other
Right.
while they're doing this.
Right.
And they're going to learn so many stories that they may not have ever
Right.
known about their parents and their grandparents' history, how they came to the diaspora, how their journey was along the way.
Right.
And all that's important.
Definitely. And I think especially in this political climate that we're in where, our books are being banned, our histories aren't being told in a classroom, right? And, as I see like this trend of like less youth learning how to cook and they're relying a lot more on frozen foods, right? And how unhealthy
chemicals, yes.
with sodium.
So the sodium is out of control.
Yeah.
And that is one of the main reasons also why we want to cook at home.
Right.
Because we can control the amount of salt that we put in our food.
Right.
We also try to flavor our food with more natural flavors such as garlic and sofrito.
Right.
It brings out all of the flavors into the recipe and put in less salt. And since we make our own adobo, we're also able to control all of those chemicals as well.
Mm. That makes sense. So, what would be, if your grandmother was here today, what would be some of the consejos that you think that she would be telling you right now, like her watching you pass down her recipes?
I think she would be super excited and very proud of me. Yes.
I think she would be too.
Thank you.
So I'm thinking that we should probably throw some of this sancocho together, right? Are we ready or we still have to wait for the meat?
No, we still have to wait for this meat to cook down. But what we can do is just chop these up and then put them in a bowl of water to soak.
Okay.
Which is what we should do because traditionally you try to soften the produce before you cook it.
Okay, perfect. Huepa. So we fast forwarded a little bit because ya tú sabes, un sancocho is a little bit like an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Exacto.
So aquí estamos con el sancocho que está listo, nena.
¡Epa! ¡Mira eso!
So Mia is going to do us the honor of serving us some sancocho to give it a try.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm so excited.
Este sancocho tiene de todo. It has all kinds of proteins as well as all kinds of delicious root vegetables.
I'm getting hungry now.
Plus, we put in little baby corns as well because who doesn't love a corn that's been soaked in a caldero and has all of that flavor added to it. Oh my God, there's everything in this bite right here. Entonces, no es un sancocho si no tenemos un chinchín de arroz blanco en el lado, okay?
We can have some rice.
But go ahead and add yourself a little bit of rice to that, girl.
Yes. Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Buen provecho, which means enjoy the food, right? Yes, absolutely. This has calabaza, it has ñame, it has papas, it has sweet potatoes, it has guineos, bolas de guineos.
Wow.
It has
Un poco de todo.
un poco de todo.
So can you tell some of our viewers, how can they take one of your classes? How can they follow you?
Yes. So my website is Mia's Cocina. My Instagram is Mia's_Cocina. And in the link for my bio, you can find the Eventbrite for La Cocina de Loisaida cooking classes that take place at the Essex Market on Delancey and Essex Streets in Manhattan.
Amazing. Don't sleep on Mia's Cocina, mi gente. We're going to give this a try. A ver. Oh my God, looks so good.
Está caliente, muchacha. Let me see. I'm going to watch you. Oh.
Oh my God, it's so good.
It's so good.
Oh my God.
It's so good.
Seriously, if you want to pass down your abuela's traditions and you haven't had the opportunity to, one of the things is my grandmother, I used to ask her for recipes, but ella como que ya estaba un poco vieja and she didn't have like the patience to teach me, and I think that's what's beautiful about your gift that you're sharing with the world is that you have this beautiful warm energy. Like I felt like you were one of my tias when I first met you.
And that's what I want everyone to feel.
And you're so patient. You're such an amazing teacher. And I'm just so grateful that these opportunities exist for the youth, but also for at all ages. Because when I went to your class, we had elders there, but there was jóvenes, moms and dads.
Yes.
I mean, even people who weren't Latino. I met an amazing African American young woman who was like, "Listen, I just love me a sancocho," So, your class brings in so much diversity and it's just giving so much breath and life to the community. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for continuing these legacies of our abuelas, this resistance and how important this is for our culture. Absolutely. And to pass on these recipes, but also this love and this community.
Thank you.
So thank you so much.
Thank you.
So wonderful to have you on the show.
It's an honor to be on the show. Thank you for having me. And I'm just very grateful to be able to be in this position to do everything that you just said and to continue to keep our recipes alive in the diaspora.
Yes, amen. And I'm going to finish this sopita because ya tú sabes.
Cómetelo, muchacha.
Mm-hmm.